My name is Adam Norman. I work at Kalmar County Museum in Sweden, and I'm really glad that you all could join for this seminar, Dancing Through Time, Dancing Through History. And this seminar is arranged as a part of a project called Creating Awareness for Pastoralist Girls. And the project is between Kalmar County Museum and the organization Pioneering for Women and Youth Transformation, and is funded by the Swedish Institute Creative Force. And I was just thinking that the word seminar, it derives from the Latin seminarium and means seed plot, the place where plants are raised from seeds. So with this seminar, we hope to put some seeds in the soil that can grow to new ideas and new initiatives on how to use dance, song, and heritage to transform maybe the world. In this seminar, you will get 3 presentations on different aspects of how song, dance, and heritage can be used for both learning but also for transformation processes. And in a seminar like this, we really like questions and discussions, and we know also that there is a lot of experience in this group from different sectors that have this theme in common. So I really look forward to questions and discussions. There will be room for this in connection to each presentation, but also in the end of the seminar. And we have said like this: if you want to pose a question, you can use the raise your hand function. It can vary from different Zoom clients, but normally in the menu you have the button reactions, and when you put that, you have raise hand. If you don't have that, you can you have other buttons like applause or like or something like that. Press any one of those if you want to pose a question, or write them in the chat if you need to remember them from later. So raise your digital hand or write in the chat room. We will be talking a bit about the time travel method today. When we work, Kalmar County Museum, when we work internationally, we often work with the method called time travel method. And that's a method of using local heritage for social cohesion and community building. And if you're not familiar with that method, or if you want to know more, you can always contact the organization Bridging Ages at the website, or talk with a representative from the organization. We have, for example, Gulsher Khan, which is president of Bridging Ages International, and many other people who are active in that network. So without any more further talking, I will first give the word to Selina Nguruma, who is the director of Period, and Pendail Kuyan, who is program manager of the same organization. And they will give you a background and the context of this project, so you know in which context we are working. So Selina and Pendail.
Hello, everyone. My name is Selina. As I have introduced myself, I'm an executive director for Pioneers, Women and Youth Transformation Period. The mission of Pioneer is to transform the life of women and youth and to marginalize the children through quality education, health, foods, security, and also to utilize the available resources, entrepreneurship, and capacity building. Welcome, Pendail.
Hi, everyone. I am Pendail, and from Tanzania, and a selling organization known as Pioneer for Women and Youth Transformation, as the leader introduced herself. And I'm the manager there, and I'm also a champion for time travel. I have been practicing that last year in another organization. And now I am putting my efforts in an organization which I'm serving now. And we are going to use sing, dance, and with time, which we are trying to do in 2 primary schools in Monduli districts in Tanzania. Now I would like to share the screen so that you can see what I have prepared for you. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm just wanting to display. Can you see all?
We can see a Word document.
Yeah. So through this method, women are strongly represented and even overrepresented in the cultural aspect and creative force. That, but when it comes to creative sector, is far from offering equal opportunities. So you can see that women are so much engaged in cultural and creative sector, but when it comes to employment, you find them that they are very few. So we found that girls in pastoral communities have been marginalized from cultural life. They face many barriers to access and contribute and participate in education, arts, music, and heritage, etc. So you find that in the community, you find that culture is more widely practiced, but you find benefiting few. Heritage and creative force prove the need, and hence debates, research, and awareness raising regarding equal rights, responsibility, and opportunity for women and men, especially girls and boys. That is from UNESCO quote. So it's through culture that base discrimination women is constructed. The gap being girls and boys include the following: that you find that the girls are discriminated through decision making, discrimination in certain activities such as cooking. Know that the activities which are labeled for men and other are labeled for boys. And also they're restricted in access to education, restricted in wealth inherent in the family, that you find that the girl is not part of the wealth in the family, although she might be the one who participated in ensuring that the wealth is obtained, not given rooms to raise their concerns. That you find that the patriarch system in Maasai tribe train a girl child to be dormant, to be passive, and to not talk in front of other people. So this is the gap which needs to be reduced or removed totally. Young girls exposed to FGM to impress men, imbalance in gender roles. So you find that these are the gaps which are existing in the community. In discussing the idea of pilot found the reason why pastoral deny the rights of their rights. You find that the economic setup of the pastoral community is that the men also are always kept to head the animals. Patriarch system in life where men are always decision makers, and need increase in their wealth through dowries and whatever. So you find that the girls are used in as a source of income, that through dowries. And polygamy system also is the another system that discriminate a woman. Worries that they are educated a girl. If you find that their community, they worry that if they educate a girl, they educate a member of the other family. So they don't bother to educate a girl. So why do we decided to use song, dance, and time travel to increase awareness in the community. The method itself is too participative, that you involve every participant in the event. So everyone is having time to talk and express themselves. The method itself is cheaper in terms of time and money as well. You don't need big trainings, keeping people for 3 days, maybe training and doing that. But very good in that is that you find that everyone has chance to talk and participate fully, and is a joyful method. It's great unity in the community, that you find that people practice their culture. They practice what they do in their community. So they feel that they are part of that training and that part of a community. It's a speedy way of changing people's attitude, since it is accomplished by happiness. As I have said, that it is the method that is it creates happiness, because everyone is joyful, happy, and participating and dancing. Even those who are shy, they normally feel part of the training. The method itself attracts ones to come back to schools. As I have said, that is a joy methodology. That means they normally would like to come to school because they want to participate in this method. The Maasai tribes love their culture mostly. So you find that if you want to touch them, or you want to reach them, the parents and guardians use their culture. And if they see that their culture is being used, that means they will see that they are not neglected, and they see that it is a good thing for them. The government of Tanzania abandoned FGM long time ago, but seems that it is always being practiced, especially for infants. Now if we use this methodology, that means everyone will have time to hear that FGM is bad, connected to the side effect of it. And also the children themselves, they will know that if I'll grow up and be a mother, that means this is not a good thing to practice in the community. Yeah, the young girls of the Maasai community are socialized to be passive. I've said that they normally receive, they don't talk. Even if they have something to talk, they normally not talk, because they are shy and they are trained to act like that. The young girls get time to speak through the songs and dance with time travel. They talk freely to their parents, and especially when they comes for school baraza, they normally call the parents to hear what the school is saying and what is planning. So the girls themselves will talk and educate their parents that this is bad. Song and dance with the time travel, past songs, language. So we normally try to even use their language so that it will be known and it will be heard by even their parents. So if the parents see that their children use the language they use at home, they are impressed and they are always ready to listen them. Song and dance with time travel gives meaning to local heritage sites and stories for people today. At same time, there are cultural behavior which trains women to be submissive and kept in museums. What we're trying to do here is to make sure that the museums are active and updated with the current issues, not just putting the things that has been done in the previous time, but connecting the museums with today's world. Song and dance with the time travel connected together, life, the past, today, and whatever. So you find that through seeing, dance, and time travel, you connect the past time, today's, and the future. Song and dance brings all people together because it's the joyful methodology. Song and dance also, with the time travel, create space and reflect on today's life with the local history. Also, song and dance with time travel enables learning by using all the sense organs that you find that is active way of participation. Song and dance with time travel also allow reflection or to contemporary issues like environment. You find also democracy is being discussed. You find also gender issues are being discussed together. So it's not the way of which is used before by lecturing. So you find that each participant in time travel is joyful and is also part of the solution of the challenges and gaps which are happening in the community. Song and dance with the time travel show importance of museums. So we are trying to ensure that the museums are active and also used as to change the community attitude and transform the life of the people. It should be clear that girls ought to enjoy the freedom of togetherness, live and rejoin, as well as create a new community of common culture values around any indicator of identity they want to privilege, they want to. So you find that the culture is the most important thing for life transformation and changing the attitude of people in the community. And also we have the gaps, creating awareness for the pastoral girls. The project is piloted currently in 2 primary schools, but there are so many primary schools which need to be reached. So the following were the thoughts to be considered in the improving the project in the future. That means we have to create training. As we were training them, they suggested that we have also clubs for parents and guardians where the parents themselves can act as educating the community themselves. Have the same clubs in secondary schools. Currently, we have the clubs in primary schools, but you know these girls goes to secondary school. So it's better to try to have also these clubs in secondary schools. Lobbying and advocacy. There is a behavior, or is like can say a policy that if a girl abstain himself or a child abstain from school for 3 consecutive months, that means she or he will have automatically gone out of the school. So no teacher will follow them and no one will follow them. They'll just say automatically have left the school. So by using this project, you will try to make sure that we talk with the government to ensure that this policy and this slogan is removed, because it is like itself is discriminative. That if a parent wants his child not or her child not to go to school, he can just find the reasons of retaining her at home, and later after the 3 months, then is automatically out of the school. Involve the government, as I've said, and also involve religious leaders, Islamic, Christianity, traditional leaders in the projects. That now we are focusing to the school, but there's a need to go to all leaders, like religious leaders, because they always have a big platform and they normally meet with the people, and they are the one who are influencing culture in the community. Going to religion aspect and going to Islamic religion. Also, traditional leaders are vital in the community to change the life of the people. So in the future, we are thinking to ensure that we involve these groups of all people. Replicate the project in all schools, I've said, in Monduli, and even going to other places. So that's my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Pendeli and Selina. So this is the background of our joint project, and this is also the problem that we want to address.
Yeah.
And the thing we want to use is dance.
Yeah.
Were you adding something there, Selina?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As Pendraeli already explained, why song and dance together with time travel, we also aim to use these methods to include all the religious and the traditional leaders, as through these leaders, they are the one who have the last say in the community, especially in pastoralist community. They called like Guanak. They are the one who, if you want to say something which you want to change to the community, you can just share with them. And if you have already changed the attitude, it is easily for them also to change the attitude of their community. Thank you very much.
So, sorry for interrupting you. Thank you so much for your presentations. Now I hope that all of you participants have a good idea on the sort of background of the project and the challenges we are trying to address with this project. This is also, as we said just before the meeting here, another issue is, of course, right now the pandemic situation, the COVID-19, which makes international cooperation difficult. At the same time, we can meet here, all of these people from 4 different continents at the same time. So very good for that. Is there anyone who has a question or comment on the background here for the project? Otherwise, I think we are moving forward.
Hello, Adam.
Hello, Mildred.
How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you? How's Kenya?
We are fine. I'm also greeting Pendraeli and Selina in Tanzania. How are you?
You're fine.
You're fine, Mildred. How are you?
I'm fine. I just have two questions.
Okay.
For them, one is that, is there a way of putting this methodology in the mainstream curriculum so that it becomes used by the schools? And the second one is, are you able to, for a wider reach on this method, I'm sure you have community cultural events. Have you tried to take learners to make presentations in these events so that more communities become engaged?
Yeah, thank you, Mildred, for your good questions. And you have firstly, and the first question you have put that, is it possible to put in a curriculum to be used as the methodology for teaching? This is the new methodology, I think, in Tanzania, and I think it is possible with time. What we need to do is to prove that the methodology is excellent for learners to learn. So I think in our project, would like to do lobbying and also share with the government and tell them the good side of the method so that they can try to include in the methodology. But currently, the method is not included in the teaching curriculum. Now, the second question.
Instead, they called it extra curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah, the third question you have asked, that you have pointed that we have cultural events. Sure, we haven't started to use the learners to educate the community through these events. But we think in the future, as we expand and replicate our project in the coming year, we'll try to look this aspect, because I think it's the good platform to have many people. So we are taking it as a learning and something to help us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for those questions, Mildred. I think that's the question on mainstreaming and make this new methods that we're working with as a part of the ordinary day life of schools is always interesting and important for making it sustainable. I don't see any more raised hands. I don't see anything in the chat room here.
Anina is raising her hand.
Okay,
physically.
the physical hand. Welcome, Anina.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation. Very interesting, and especially when you talked about the cultural clubs in schools. That's something that's also very big in Finland at the moment, to create hobby clubs in every school with cultural and other hobbies. But I was going to ask if it's a collaboration with Sweden. Do you have some dancing in your activities there, Adam? Or how does it transfer to Kalmar?
You have never seen me dance.
No, that's what I thought. I have to ask this now.
No, actually not, because this project is a seed funding project. So we are sort of mapping the opportunities for going into the bigger application to create for us. So this seminar is one of the activities that the Kalmar County Museum is organizing within this project. So we have divided it. So in Tanzania on site, Selina and Pendaeli are doing pilots with schools. And here in Kalmar, we are sort of mapping and finding good best practices of how dance and song can be used. So we have not a mirroring activities here in Sweden for the moment, at least. Thank you. Ebbe Westergren is raising his hand, so please, Ebbe.
Okay, now I unmute here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to say thank you, Pendaeli, and I missed the name of the woman here, but thank you anyway. Selena, yeah, thank you for a good presentation. It was very nice to hear. I've heard a lot about you, Pendaeli, and I think there are good hopes and that you will take it forward now in Tanzania. I think according to the plans you have here, I think you have good opportunities to do that, and also hope that you will be able to make connections to Kenya. Yeah. There are a lot of pastoralist girls in Kenya as well, and this could actually be exactly the same presentation for pastoralist girls in Kenya. So please make connections to them, and good luck for the future. And I really think you can make a difference. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you very much, Ebbe.
Thank you, Ebbe, and I'm ready to do that, and I'm trying to do it. And it's good that we have we communicated with the Mildred in Kenya, and I visited her last in 2019 in Kisumu, where she's teaching. And we have talked a lot, and now I think in this project we will also try to find the ways of sharing knowledge and also visiting to each other, so that we make sure that this methodology is just expanded to Tanzania and Kenya. So thank you, Ebbe.
Just to add, it's a very good idea to connect to Mildred, and maybe also you can connect to the Samburu and Rendille tribe in northern Kenya. That is more or less the same as the Maasai. So, but I think there are lots of opportunities, both in Tanzania and in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good comment from Ebbe. I think that we can all agree that many of the challenges that you are addressing that we are addressing this project does not stop at country borders, and so does not dance either. Both of those things travel far. I can just add, since we didn't have a presentation to start, we are too many of us, feel free if you want to present yourself if you're posing a question. Many of you know each other here, but we have lately heard here Ebbe, who is the honorary president of Bridging Ages International and founder. Anina Ylikoski from Finland, who is the former president of Bridging Ages and a long-time time traveler, and Mildred Ayere at Maseno University in Kisumu, Kenya, president of Bridging Ages Kenya. So we have and also, as we said, connection with northern Kenya would be interesting. I think we have Stephen Labarakwe here. He's at least on the list here. I haven't seen him. Maybe his camera's off. So we have good opportunities to connect here. Thank you so much for the presentation and for all interesting discussions. We are moving forward in the program now to the first session on dance here. So we are going to leave the word to Anina Ylikoski from the Ostrobotnian Children's Culture Network and her presentation, Dancing Through Time, Dance as a Part of Time Travels. So please welcome Anina.
Thank you so much. And hello, everybody out there. Very nice to interact with you now in this way. And I'm going to see how we get this now. Okay, so I'm going to talk about dancing through history and dance then as a part of time travels, and how it can be included in different ways. And in the end, I will also include you then in practical activity. This, of course, would have been much easier if we were all in the same room. But on the other hand, as we are 9 nationalities here today, so perhaps we wouldn't be in the same room. So we take it this way now, and that's going to be very exciting to try too. I work for the Ostrobotnian Children's Culture Network, BARC, and we are a part of the administrated by the Regional Council of Ostrobotnia in Finland. And there you see the map of Finland, and the red part, that's Ostrobotnia. That's where we are. And we are one of the 31 children's culture centers in Finland, and we are then founded partly by the Ministry of Education and Culture. And we work both in Finnish and in Swedish. And we have 15 municipalities that we work in here in the region. And how do we collaborate then? Our partners are schools, universities, of course, a lot of museums, heritage associations, that's smaller museums out in the municipalities, and with them we work a lot on time travels as well. And then we work with libraries, archives, and then the different officials in municipalities. But there can also be other heritage association or then culture and art associations. And especially when you talk about dance or music, then it can be different kind of associations, or then also artists who work in the educational field with dancing and with music. And of course, I should say then for myself, so I have worked with time travels now, I think since 2005. So coming up here now on the 15-year anniversary on that. Apart from working with time travels, so that dance have become a part of many time travels for me, is that I have danced all my life, I could say, and especially then folk dancing in different ways. And I have also instructed folk dancing, both for children and for adults. And that's why kind of dancing felt like something that was very natural for me to include in the time travels as a way of expressing yourself and to take to a part of the heritage and the heritage experience, so to say. But Barkden, we are what we call a mobile children's culture center. And we specialize in the heritage education and time travels. But we do also other programs which aren't that. That can be arts, it can be then dance, which is in part of a time travel. It can be literature, it can be music, it can be circus, it can be many different things. And here in this picture, you see then a dance workshop with young refugees. This was with refugee girls. And here we then tried to find dances that were a little similar in this. Most of them in this workshop were from the Middle East. And we tried to find then common similarities in our traditional dances. And that was quite exciting how we did that as well. But this wasn't, as said, it wasn't exactly a time travel, but it was in a way to evoke the heritage and which heritage we use and how you take some heritage with you and some things you leave behind and what then you create together. Time travels in Finland, I should say shortly. There's, as I know, there's our colleagues from Kenya and South Africa with us today who have a clear Bridging Ages South Africa and Bridging Ages Kenya. In Finland, the structure is free and there's more of a network model, you could say. And there's trainings have been done in many places around Finland, and there's also those areas who have worked with time travels for many, many years. And for example, in Helsinki, in the Turkey archipelago, in the eastern part of Finland. And this is then from a training in Lapland, in the north of Finland. And this was in 2019, so their time travels unfortunately got a little halted because of what happened last year, but I have heard that they are very on the way and ready to go as soon as you can try physical time travels activities again. We also do international collaboration, and especially with then Bridging Ages International. And as said there, I was then the president from 2015 to 2019. And that brought me into a lot of very exciting collaborations. And as we have Mildred Ayere there on the line now, so this is from Maseno University and their students. And here, as you see, we dance. I tried to collect most pictures here now where we in some form or another dance. And this is then from South Africa. Because when we come to it then, the time travel method, it's an educational method using the local heritage to reflect on issues of today. But the interesting thing is then, how do you express this through dance? And I think in some countries, this can come quite naturally because dance is such a kind of included part of the society that it's very easy to include it and also very natural kind of to put it there. I think that we in the Nordic countries have to work harder on that to kind of include the dancing part in it. But I think it's interesting to find ways to do it, and a little new ways, and learn from each other. When you talk about dancing in general, when I was preparing for this presentation, I was thinking about that if the audience now would have been only from the Nordic countries, in Finland, in Sweden, I think one of the questions that would have come up very quickly would have been, okay, dancing, yes, but what kind of dancing do you mean? Do you mean like modern dancing? Do you mean like hip hop? Do you mean like traditional dancing? Do you mean medieval dancing? What do you mean? You have to put it more specified now. And I would say that in the time travel scenario and in the method, as with the whole method, it comes from the place and the history of the place, and also the theme that is chosen. So, for example, if you are doing a time travel to 1903, for example, then it has to reflect that time. Then you can't put hip hop in there because that probably wouldn't have been there. And if you do then a time travel to 1790, then the dancing has to reflect that. And this, of course, means that you have to have the knowledge of that society and the dancing of that time. And but I think the very fascinating thing is here, what goes very clearly into, in my opinion, for the time travel method, is that depending on the place, there might be several different kind of dance style that's represented at the same time. You might have in the time travel groups from different social classes. You know, you might have people who, the servants probably dance in a different way than the masters do, for example. You might have different ethnic groups that have dances that are specific for them. You might have language or regional differences. And there I feel dance is a very exciting way of lifting forward those differences and kind of highlight the heritage in that way, but also to find kind of the common ground in that. And when you talk then about dance in general, I will now start the part where I take different examples of what dance can bring to a time travel. In which way can it express the different ways a time travel can be expressed? And of course, as dance is an art expression, so as any expression of art or handicraft or task that you do in a time travel. So it can be used as an activity, and it can be, of course, also used to express yourself in different ways. But it can be both part of the time travel process. It can be part of the process if you want to prepare a class or a group for a time travel. Or it can be part of a reflection workshop afterwards. And then, of course, to be part of the actual time travel. But I think it's interesting too, if you think about it as a part of the preparation, to highlight and to kind of dive into the society that you will go into. But also to take it with you to the reflection part, and work on it afterwards and see how the things we have learned now about history or heritage, or what we have experienced about the different groups in our society, and how we see the past and the future, and especially then what you want to create for the future. And that can be very creative and exciting. And then I'm going to throw out to you this part that comes at the end. Can a whole time travel be expressed through dance? And this is something that has come forward now, especially during the corona pandemic, because you have to think in a different way. And I think to kind of get the work done, so to say. And that's why I think it was very exciting to start thinking that perhaps you can do it in a different way, even digitally. And but we'll take that a little later on. But if we start with this then, dance can be a way to prepare for a time travel, to kind of get you in the time and through that express what this society that we will go into is. This is from a workshop with, these are 9 and 10 years old. And here we prepare to go back to the end of the 1800s. And it's a time travel where we meet Finland and society in a rural setting where emigration is very common, and we kind of go into this theme and see then what we find there. And here we are we are warming up, and we are, as I said, this is just in their school now, so we aren't doing a time travel yet, but we are preparing and doing then different workshop dancing to get in the time. And here I was going to say also what can be very an exciting, I would say it's exciting, but also challenging. This was an area where those who live there are very religious. And dancing is not something usually that is looked up on, that's something positive. It's a little like, it's perhaps not so good. And the interesting thing was then that with the principles, it was discussed that it's very good that we do this, but perhaps we can call it something else, you know, that perhaps we don't call it dancing, perhaps we call it, you know, games from, you know, historical games, or perhaps we'll talk about music gymnastics. And this is a very interesting thing, I think, when you come into this, that you can interpret it in so many ways. So in this particular workshop, I didn't use the word dance one single time because that wouldn't have been good. So we talked the whole time about musical gymnastics, and we just moved around in different ways, and that went very well. It was very popular because the time travel as such was something that was looked upon as something that was very good, but dancing was a little like, what do we think about this now? And for our Finnish and Swedish colleagues, so this was the area where there's less stadioner, which was then making this interesting in a challenging way. But it went very well in the end, but you then have to kind of think about it in a different way. Dancing can also be used in workshopping when you link together different kinds of heritage and dance. This was after a time travel, and this was then also with young refugees. This was young refugee boys. And this is a young man from Afghanistan, and he's now linking together his heritage from his own country with the heritage of the place he has come to. And here he is then doing the Finnish shottis, Afghani style. And of course, this is a very specific, this is completely his own expression. If I would show this to people in general, say, this is now shottis, they would be like, I don't believe you. But this was his expression of it. And I thought he captured it very well. And of course, here we had many different expressions of how you can bring together the heritage from the place you come and the place you then are from. And as said in this, we then also then learned first a little about the shottis, and then we linked it together with dances from their own country. But then if we come to the actual, when you do a time travel, so in which way can dance then be included in that? Well, the typical thing is, of course, that it is an activity of some sort. So it is one of the activities that you do in the time travel. And this is from a time travel to 1790. And here we were in a house where they were building ships. And there was a lot of discussions about how the seamen then lived. And here we are then doing to a sea shanty. We are then singing, and then we are practicing how to load the ships in the best way. And we are then doing it to a sea shanty that was traditionally work songs on ships. So here we are practicing and seeing what kind of work song we will get and get the best result in. Because I think it's very interesting with these, also these work songs, that they go in different phases, and it's clear that if you are doing something that has to go faster, it's a faster song. But if it's something that's more kind of manual, then it's a song that goes more slowly, and you hear the beat in a different way. So this, I felt, had so many layers upon layers on how you express yourself, and also how music, dance, heritage, history can come together in an interesting way. And we also had in this time travel then the part where we practice how to climb the ropes of the ship, and what you then had to practice to do that. And that was very exciting. Only thing I have to say with that, because I hadn't calculated this so clearly, because since I had that part of the activity, I had to do the dancing with the climbing of the ropes for like an hour, and that was extremely heavy. So I kind of put it to a short part, because that was a workout. That was really a workout. So it's also a very good way to get the participants moving. And especially if there's something that, you know, many have, if there's problems with that, oh, they can't sit still, put them to these parts in sea shanties, have them to climb ropes. It's an extremely good workout. But as an activity, I would say perhaps dancing is the most typical part in a time travel, that it's some kind of activity that you experience. But it can also show the time period and the society. This is from a time travel to, I think we were at 1910. And this house is a museum now, but we are here in their attic, and we are dancing here the dances of this type. We actually had like a ball of that time. And of course, this is not the servants doing the dancing. This is then what would have been dancing in a ball in the upper floors, so to say. And we then did it in, as you see, we also have live music there played on the piano in the background. And in this time travel, and also we have a violinist also there in the background. But in this part then we did that, we kind of practiced as an activity in the time travel. And then in the end, we danced together, all of us. So we had to choose something that was relatively easy and that all could be a part of. And then we did it all together in the end. And of course, when you do it in that way, also it's a very good way of kind of coming together and finding common ground, but also kind of showcasing how different classes in society, what they, through dancing, how their life was, for example. And this we have used many times to illustrate the differences and similarities between groups. Because as said, the servants will probably dance in a different way than those who dance in the ballroom, the ball hall. So that's why it's very interesting then if you do both and you kind of show, you know, for example, and discuss then later on that you see then the differences, for example, with what is then, this is again now from a dance then that's more formal, and that tended to be the dances of the nobility and the higher groups in society. But then it's very interesting in the discussion to kind of lift this forward, as we today, a lot of the time, I mean, at least in Finland now, if you say that, okay, now we are going to dance, okay, then you usually have to give instructions in some way. You have to say that, okay, you go 4 steps to that, to the left, and then you do this, and something. So it's in a way quite formal also, even if you lift forward dances that were danced very informally, historically. But that usually doesn't work so well if you do that in Finland and say to them, okay, everybody, now we are going to dance. Nothing happens. You have to give instructions kind of so we can dance informally. So this also says something, I think, about our society today. But a very interesting thing to live forward in a time travel as well, that you can see the similarities and the past-present discussion. And of course, in this part also similarities, differences between groups comes the difference between ethnic groups, or differences between regional dancing, how different regions have danced. And especially in time travels where you have some part of migration aspect in a way, I think it's interesting to live forward that many of, most of the dancing have arrived from somewhere else. And it has come here, and it has been something that has been made of the society to kind of typical Finnish, even though it started somewhere else. And that is a very core thing to think about. I think that you can see kind of the roots and kind of the travel patterns if you talk about historical dancing and how it's interpreted today. And then, of course, dance can also be used to kind of create drama, discussion, and reflection. This is from a time travel to 1956. And rock and roll have arrived to Vasa in this time travel. We are at an old cinema, a movie theater, and there is now then word about somebody has got a new song, rock and roll, and this Elvis Presley singing. What is this now? And there we had, in this time travel, we are then practicing the rock and roll, the new style, but not everybody like it at all. They think it's too wild, too crazy, not good. And it created this discussion and reflection part very clearly. And as you see, the participants are very eager in this to dance the rock and roll. And here we actually found this, that everybody had their own style. So it was very fun to do in that way, because most of them were on board and it's like, okay, we found our own style now and it's so new, and yeah. And then I had this part as well. This is from the Bridging Ages conference in 2009 in Finland. We are in Karleby, and here the dancing was actually used, and you perhaps see some faces you recognize there. And here dancing was actually used as a way to move the big group in the end, so they would come to the right place. And that I have used in other time travels as well, that you use dancing in some way to move the group at the end where you want them, or to in some way move the group. And I think that's a very good way, especially if it is for example, that the school children need to go to the bus very quickly. So then it's okay, come along here now, and then they are at the bus, and problem solved. So yeah, can be done also very practically to use dance. But of course, it can also be used to create something that all can gather around, to create something that everybody has in common. And this is one of those situations. One of the earlier pictures when I talked about that what you danced in high society and what the servants dance were different. So here we then were joined by the servants, and here we agreed on this kind of dance. This is a polska in a circle, and this was something that we all could agree on. And I have to say that this specific dance I have found extremely useful also working with migrants, especially then from the Middle East, because there's usually some kind of dance in a circle where you are together, and that has been something that we can kind of learn from each other and then create perhaps some model of our own. But yes, then comes the interesting question: can you dance a time travel? And here I'm going to engage the audience now. What do you say? Can you dance a time travel with, like, from beginning to end? What do you say? Any ideas? I see some who nod. I don't see you all here now, but yeah. Some nod. Yeah, we can dance a time travel. Yeah. Of course, Adam.
I think it sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. Of course, it's two sides to this. So the more traditional approach to it is then this one that we have done, and this is then a formal dance from, this was a time travel, and it was set in the setting that it was a formal dance, and it was 1836. And this was put together with a historical dinner as well. But the formal dance had key questions, and it had also different activities during the breaks of this. And we had dance cards, as you had in this time. So there you saw what you were supposed to dance. And as you see, this was a time travel with adults. And this was something that you then could buy tickets to, because of course the dinner was part of it as well. So it was more formal dancing, but the end there comes more wild dancing that the servants introduce as well. And they had different opinions on what to dance. And here you see the picture of us who took part of it. And it was very fun to do because this was perhaps a group that otherwise wouldn't have been part of a time travel. But what they had in common was that they were interested in this dancing part. And some of us had also the makeup and hairstyles from that time, which means that we had very red cheeks, yes. But here you see part of it as well. So this is then also, there we have the dinner at the end, and then discussions during the breaks. There were some card playing, for example, and there was some who had very different opinions on if card playing is good or bad and who can do it. And there was also this discussion about, in the time travel, about what is, if you take in new things, so to say, because one of the main characters was a young man, Zacharias Topelius, then who became a famous writer and poet in Finland. And the discussion, he had then gone to study in Helsinki, and the discussion was because he had other ideas what he thought we should do. We were kind of the, those of us left in the place, we were kind of left behind and didn't have all the new things. And how are we going to, is it good to take in new things or should we stick to the old, basically? But it was expressed then through dance. And again, here we are getting the whole group down the stairs to the dinner. So again, a practical way of escorting them all to the dancing, through the dancing. But then we come to this part now where we'll engage the audience. Are you ready for some dancing, everybody? Okay, I'm going to pretend that you are all saying, yay, we are. This is then a time travel through dancing, and in this time done digitally. And is it possible? This time travel now that I'm going to talk about and let you also try. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now because I'm going to change to another soon. So in this, we are then going back to, we are not doing everything. We are just doing one part because we don't have time for everything. But the year is 1903, and we have a young girl, Alma, who's then thinking about emigrating to America. And this is kind of the time travel we have done many, many times in real life, so to say. And this is also, if you are familiar with our digital escape, the time travel in escape room format. So this is also the story of that. I'm moving now, the kind of the immigration is now in all our new things, so to say. But in this, she's thinking about it. And through dance, we first have a part where we move back in time. And after that, we are, what is the situation in Finland? And then there's dance where we sing and kind of do chores. And it's quite hard, this life in Finland now in 1903. And then we have what is it then in America? That's the promised land, and we have a dance through that. And with all these, I also talk, about the situation. And then, but the choice is then made. Alma, she said that, okay, I'm going to emigrate. And then we have a dance then about what it's like on the boat. And then we meet some Irish people, and there's a reel that we dance, and that would have been so fun to do if we were all in the same group, but that's not so easy now. But now come to the part where you will be included. So we have now arrived in America. We are now in New York, and we are thinking, what can we do here now? What can we work with? you know, it's a little confusing. There's a lot of people walking around and saying, you can be a maid, you can perhaps do some sewing here, or you can do the washing up, or whatever. What can you do? So this we are going to now do through dance. So now everybody get up from your chair while I'll put the right music to us. Up from your chair, you can do this sitting. Okay, so I'll have to do it like this now. So first, we are going to show this through a dance called Gustav's Call. And first, we are going to do then, it's quite an easy dance. So we do it this way, that we stamp 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then we clap 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and stamp again, 1, 2, 3, clap, clap, clap. 1, 2, 3, clap, clap, clap. Okay, and then we have this part that we can, for example, dance around here, like this, or then we can show what chores you can do then. What can you work with? For example, if we say now that the first thing that you hear then when you're over there in New York, you hear that, okay, I can do the dishes, for example. What would you say now? How do you show when you do the dishes? Can I get some examples? Laura is showing me there. Yeah, okay. So we do that in the dancing part. Okay, so first we stamp, then we clap, and then we do the dishwashing. Okay, are you ready? I'll put on the music. Great. Where did I lose that one now? There we are. Oh, stamp, stamp, stamp. Clap, clap, clap. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Clap, clap, clap. And then we do the washing up. And one more time. Stamp, stamp. And then the washing up. Okay, everybody, some more suggestions. What other work can we do here now, Demi and America? What do the men do? What do you think you can do here?
Shoe polishing.
What, Matthias, what did you say?
Shoe
polishing. Okay, how do we do that? Okay, we do it like this. Okay, good. We do the shoe polishing. Great. So in the dancing part, shoe polishing. We continue. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Stamp, stamp, stamp. And then we polish our shoes. One more time. And then polish the shoes. Okay, one more suggestion, everybody. What do we do when we come to America? What work can we find now?
Cutting hair.
Cutting hair. Okay, great. How do we do that? Yeah, you can freestyle on the hair cutting. Great, we'll do that. Great. Okay. So So this was then chosen with the thought that you perhaps aren't familiar with dancing at all. So yeah, but this was a kind of a way to engage the audience, but also to discuss then how you would do in America. What would you work with, for example? And then the end of it then will be a discussion. And before that, we have this calmer part when we also dance to a little calmer song. So this was a way you can do it. You got to see a very small part of the dancing, but I think it looks like you are still all alive. Nobody has fainted. So I think we did pretty well. And this was what I was going to show you here now. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anina. Now the colleagues in the office on my back here has something to wonder about. Thank you for excellent presentation. We still have some minutes for if there is any no questions or on all the things Anina said, or reflections or discussions. Matthias has raised his hand. So many hands in the air. We start with Matthias.
Yes, thank you very much for that wonderful presentation and dance. Wonderful. I have a question, because it's a lot of in this time travel to find the accurate information on certain dances or specifics. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, it's because you want to have it as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, there must be because it's a big range if you want to go to the 700 or 18. How do you work around that?
Well, of course, as said, since I have done the folk dancing, for example, so in that you find many, but in some cases you need to take help from others who know it better. It's very clear, for example, if because now there's a project in the making where there's hip hop involved. I mean, I know nothing about hip hop, so we need to involve people who know that. But then, of course, not only know the dance style, but also know kind of the society where it came from. And of course, that can be a challenge, because many times you can have people who know, they know the dance, but the origins of it. So sometimes you, of course, have to do research as well about the time, and through that get the information that the person who know the dance can tell you. But in many cases, research of some sort also. For example, the ball that I described there, I mean, I had to do a lot of research on that because I didn't know most of that.
Yeah.
But luckily, there are quite good research. If you just start to do the research, there is to find.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on the speakers list, we have Tasha. Sorry for that. Tasha from Brazil, who has raised her hand. Was it the wrong pronunciation?
No problem. And
I think we have a very bad connection here. Is it for everyone?
Yes, unfortunately.
We have a problem hearing you.
My internet is not so good.
Sorry, could you please, maybe you could write your question in
Perhaps
the chat, because it's a difficult... There we lost sound. It's always the thing with technology, but we should be... how are you approaching the body? Is the question. I think that we can take that. It's quite open question, because you always work with the body in dance.
In dancing, yeah. I hope I understand the question in the right way, but I mean, dancing, there you work with the body. It's a very natural thing that you do that then. And of course, in many ways, for example, in time travels, not everything you do, you work with the body in that way. You know, if you do writing, it's in a different way. But this is truly a way of kind of expressing yourself as well. And that you get to, when you move around and do it in different ways. But I'm not sure if I understood the question in the right way.
I would just like to add there, Anina, because I think that we're always working with the body in time travels, because the participants are always engaging with their own self in some way. So, so the body's, I think the body's always present in time travel. Of course, you can never escape from your own body, but as opposed to, you know, reading or looking at a movie or something, you engage with yourself in a time travel.
It's a kind of active participation, yeah.
Very much like dance in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely true, yeah.
I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah. But please ask more, Thaisa, if there was some.
She says, I think the big problem of dance is the fear of dance and how we look at the body nowadays.
Yes, okay, then I understand. Yes. Yes, I mean, the fear of dance, we talked about this, or I mentioned it in the beginning there, that the fear of dance is very real for many. And you feel, and many can feel kind of, they feel awkward when they dance somehow and think that, you know, and many can say that, okay, I don't know how to dance, or I don't know how to move my feet, or I have so big feet, or whatever, that you feel kind of awkward moving around. But in one way, I would say in a time travel, it can be easier because you are in a different time. So it kind of creates that, okay, this is not me doing it now. It's kind of in this different experience, and me as, you know, August or whatever your name is at that moment doing it. So that has perhaps in some cases also lowered the bar a little for some. And of course, perhaps that it's not, in many cases, many perhaps feels that, okay, I don't know how to dance, or I should know this now, or something like this. But since it is then that, okay, this is something historical, okay, I perhaps don't have to know this now. And that also can lower the kind of bar a little.
Anina, in your practice, what makes free children more to discuss dance or handicraft?
I would say it's a combination of both, because many, you know, we are all different, that, you know, some are more, you know, with their hands, that's their kind of way of expressing themselves, and others have to move around. They, in some way, you know, if they don't move around, they kind of don't get the message through, so to say. So in many cases, in a time travel too, I think it's good that you have kind of different expressions, because I know also for myself, I mean, I'm not good at handicraft. If that would be my only expression, I would feel like, oh, I'm limited now in some way. so I think it's good that you have different, and then everybody can find, the tool or the expression that's most valuable or best for them.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
dance, it's better in the beginning of education, time travel, or in a finish. The finish.
Many times I have found that it's better to have the common thing at the end. If you have it as part of the activities, of course, then it's there as an activity like the others. But I found it to be that at the end it's best, because then it's more like, okay, we are a group here now that we come together, and it can be then the expression of that okay, we are in this together now. And and especially if you have a situation where you have, like, for example, two classes of children, for example, they don't know each other so well. So, but if they have done some things together, then they're like, okay, now we dance. So they are warm up to each other, and that also goes for adults, actually. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very interesting to hear you.
I can see we're running a bit into the break here, but I see that Celine and Pendale has raised her hand, so please.
Yes, thank you, Anina, for very good presentation. You seem to be very experienced with the time travel with dance. Congratulations for that. And I would just, like to, and congratulations also to have said that you have 31 children's centers, which you are also working with, and really they are doing nice work. This is something good to learn for us, because we don't have those centers. So it is something that this is the learning for us, that it is possible to have children's centers. But my question is it possible, do you have these centers for universities or colleges, or you have only for children?
The children's culture centers I was talking about, we are part of what is then called the Association of Children's Culture Centers in Finland, and there's 31 of us, and we get then part of our money from the Ministry of Education and Culture. And there is also I can send you the link of the homepage. There is information also in English, and not everybody of them work with time travels. They can work with other forms of arts and culture for children and youth. But I can send that link, and then you can read more about it there as well. But if the part with time travels, if we work with university students, for example. So we also have collaboration with the universities. So we have worked many times with them and their students, and they get to experience time travel as well. And both those who are at university with more kind of theoretic fields, and then we have also worked with those who are more in the applied sciences part. Not dancing with everybody of them, but with some.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, thank you so much, Anina. Thank you for the discussion. I think that maybe we can follow up some of the discussions at the end of this seminar, because we have some extra time there, talking more about the body. And Mildred commented in chat, in Africa, dance is so common. It's easy to include dance as an activity, and very possible to use dance throughout the time travel, but would require planning. I think that might be true for many countries in Africa, but for Sweden and Finland, I know that there is the sort of fear of dancing, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Requires...
And Mildred, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That is something I have said we have to learn from Africa because we are so stiff up here. Yes, yes.
Yes, but we are moving into a short break now to stretch your leg and do some dancing and grab some coffee, whatever you like. But we keep the start time because we have other engagement for some of the presenters. So we are back here in 13 minutes at 10 minutes to 2 Swedish time. So in 13 minutes, that's enough for a waltz or something like that. So see you in 13 minutes. Bye. So we are moving forward in this seminar now, and for our next presenter, we are happy to invite Mattias Lundmark, who is a dancer. I got in contact with you because for this seminar, I wanted to see is it very common to work with dance and a rights-based perspective, and when I googled it, it just said you should contact Mattias Lundmark because you have worked with this before.
Yes.
And I think that we're gonna get to know more about this now.
Yeah.
So, warm welcome, Mattias Lundmark.
Thank you very much. I must say it's a real honor to be among this very very nice people to be around, and I'm very honored to be in this webinar because it's like you said, Adam contacted me because my name is Mattias Lundmark. I'm from Stockholm, Sweden, and me and together with my wife Hanna Lundmark, we are running a dance collective called Kalabalindi. We've been working with dancing for over 20 years and have a strong, enthusiastic way of being, dancing with children and teaching children with new pedagogic ideas. But yes, since the last 2 years, we also did a project with the Swedish Institute and Creative Force. It was a project together with an organization in Diyarbakir, Turkey. And I think we had some people from Turkey here. Do we have some? Yes, there's one, and there may be some more. Yes, hello. Just have to let me know if I pronounce something wrong, or my English is not very good as well, but I hope you will cope with this as well. But I thought that
from Diyarbakir, actually.
Sorry?
I am from Turkey, but not from Diyarbakir. I'm from Ankara.
Okay. Hi. Welcome. Yeah. So it's I would like to do it this way because this is I must say this working with dance and rights with this organization from Turkey was new for us. It was not new for us to work with values like gender equality and freedom of speech. This we have done for over 10 years, but to do this working with the Swedish Institute, it was new for us, and we learned a lot from this. And my presentation will be, I will show a lot of film clips, short film clips, so you get a glimpse of my story, or I should say our story, the Kalabalindi Dance Collective, because I think the story of our how we evolved our organization pretty much will find bits and pieces where we have some things to talk about. So I'm gonna start by showing a clip, a short teaser from the cooperation with the Diyarbakir Association. So here I will try and see if this succeeds. Here we have, and I hope the sound is okay. Here we go. All right, yes. It was just to get a glimpse of what we did. But it's kind of, I would like to say it this way. Here we are with a dance called Lindy Hop, a dance called swing. Swing is this is a, it's not just Lindy Hop, it's Charleston tap dancing. It's a whole era. It's like saying hip hop. Hip hop can be graffiti, or it's so swing dancing with couple dancing, Lindy Hop, is an African American folk dance. So now I am from Sweden. I'm a white person doing this Lindy Hop, teaching people in Diyarbakir. It's quite far-fetched. How come I do this? So I want to give you the story of Lindy Hop, why it ended up like this. So if you go back in time, Lindy Hop was born in the late 1920s. So I find this very interesting because I love the time travel. I'm not familiar with the concept like Anina and Adam here. I have not studied this, but it feels like I've been time traveling the last 30 years doing dancing. But again, I didn't do it with my heritage of, it is not my heritage. It started for me with the Swedish folk dancing. So I did some Swedish folk dancing. I was also starting, I was in a project called Dare to Dance. It was called in Stockholm, Sweden, where it was an organization helping 13-year-olds to just dare to do dancing. Jag vågar stuffa, as it say in Swedish. And this was a wonderful gate in for me, and to do couple dancing, to hold and communicate with a person. So we're going back now to the Lindy Hop. What is Lindy Hop? What is this couple dance that I will talk quite a lot about? Yes, it was. It got very popular in the 30s in New York, the mecca of. So it's the same place we went with the boat, 1903. So 29 years later, or 27, in 1929, there was a guy named Shorty Snowden. He was in a marathon competition dance, and he won. So they wanted to ask him, what is this dance that you're doing? And in the newspaper, it said that Charles Lindbergh, he just flew over the Atlantic for the first time. So in the newspaper, it says, Lindy hops the Atlantic. So with this referation, the guy who was doing the dancing, well, I'm doing what they say on the newspaper, I'm doing the Lindy Hop. That was the birth of the dance, Lindy Hop. Some people call it the jitterbug, which is the same dance. Some people think it's different, but it's just another way of naming the dance. It was actually more the black who were saying when the white people were dancing, they looked like bugs that jitter, that's alcohol, so they had some alcohol in them. So it was difficult times at this time. So Lindy Hop, 1929. So here we can see some authentic Lindy Hop. I would like to show you Shorty Snowden from 1929, and this to give you the reference of what Lindy Hop, how it started.
Now, the first couple I'm calling off here this evening is Hotfoot Benny and that dashing little lady friend, Lizzie Highfly. number 2, Mr. Oliver Hemingway and Buzzsaw Mamie. Couple number 3, Shorty Stump and Liza Underdunk.
All right. Thank you very much for watching that. So we have this 1929. There was a lot of swing dancing, and it had its peak to working, growing together with jazz music. And this is the jazz, the music, and the dance form Lindy Hop. It's with this call and response, how it was communication, to see one another, to play with the music. This I found when I start to look at these movies, I start to feel an urge to want to try this. But it was also many great dancers around the 30s. And it was not until there was a guy coming to Sweden 1989, a guy named Frankie Manning, and this is not important. I mean, he is important for me, but it's not important for you. But what is important, what he did, he was not only one of the best Lindy Hopper from the 30s, he was a choreographer, he was the one leading the greatest company ever danced in the 30s, but he was also a great person. So when you I mean, now I'm gonna idolize him, but the way he taught me was not only about dancing, it's about how to dance, how to communicate. That is, this dance is for everyone. And this is a guy coming from living in the 30s, where there's so much racism and so much segregation, and being and still have the idea that this is a dance that is included for everyone was very big. So we have a community, the people who dance Lindy Hop, and within this community, he is like a guru or a guy setting the standard to our dance community. And I feel that he, as a one person, has a very important role in the whole how the dance has spread, and what has given me and my partner and our organization. So Frankie Manning, they say the Lindy Hop is a dance where there's also acrobatics, where you throw. This is what you can see when you watch a rock and roll. This is something later, but in the early dance, they say Frankie Manning was the first person doing an air step. So Frankie Manning's idol was this Shorty Snowden. So the first Lindy Hop was Shorty Snowden, and then this Frankie Manning got inspired by him. So just because he's important for me and what we are doing today, I think it's important just for you to get a picture on who is this Frankie Manning. So follow my journey, and here is a montage of Frankie Manning.
Five, six, seven. I pass away, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be right here, Jim, I'm telling you. Because this is the only place to be. If you're not here, you're not in. You out.
Yes, okay. Yes. So what place was he talking about? If you're not here, you're not in. And that is just because he had a special connection to a special dance camp that was started in the late 80s called Harangue Dance Camp. Something that you don't maybe have heard about, but it's like a very big festival. It's the largest in the world within this community. And he was a very strong individual setting the tone of the community. This is how we Swedish people got connected with him, with his dancing, him coming to Sweden. So a great mentor, and this made maybe after 10-15 years, I met my wife, Hannah, and we started to work together, performing this dance, trying to go travel in time and do what they did in the 30s with the help of a person who was dancing in the 30s, but also now with a great charisma and a great mentor could help us evolve as dancers. And then just because me and Hannah, we had a very interested in pedagogics, we started to work with children. So in this Harangue dance camp, we started to work with children. After I went to school and learned some pedagogics, Hannah, with a natural talent of working with children, we started a concept called the Swing Kids, where we wanted, first of all, we wanted to have children to work with couple dance. In a very technical world, to start to see each other and to communicate with each other, even hold each other without it being too complicated. And to meet them, we started to involve that we do swing dancing and street dance. And to do this as a combo, to have something modern of today, but something from previous, something vintage, or what do you say? So this, we felt we learned a lot about how we can find ways to start to do couple dance. We learned that it's not, we had to address some questions about gender, because that's this thing that we didn't want to bring from the 30s, because it was kind of not gender equality around this time as well, because it was basically man should meet woman. It's a social dance where man should meet woman, and we wanted this to be free for everybody to hold anyone. So talk about follower and leader, and just to stand in front of each other like this can be tricky. So how do you address the couple dance without just saying, boys, go and find a girl, like they would do in the early times. So to use this to work with gender norms, we found it was very easy to get into doing couple dancing. I just want to show you a clip again, because at the same place that Frank and Manning were, the Harangue place, we started Swing Kids, and here's an example. It's a promotion video, but I'm not selling this. I just want to show you children dancing. So this is from our concept, the Swing Kids. Here is some more footage. Sorry, and there we go. Yes. Yep. So the Swing Kids, I mean, that is just one of the projects, and the way what we work is to work with, because now is the question, so why Lindy Hop and why do we work with dance and rights? Maybe the first question you wanted to get, but I wanted to take the long way for you to understand my story or our story. But because we wanted to use Lindy Hop more as a tool, even though it's our passion to dance to jazz music, but use it as a pedagogic tool for work with dance and rights. And we use it also in performances, doing a show about gender or about freedom of speech. But for us, we kind of narrowed down after a lot of analyzing what is Lindy Hop for us. And it's basically 3 words that we came up with, and is joy, and is freedom, and is inclusiveness. But it's not a word, but inclusive. So working with this, I mean, the inclusiveness is basically the spirit we got from Frankie Manning, how to invite everybody for this dance. And inclusiveness is also that we try to give that it shouldn't matter what gender you are, you should still be able to hold someone and do couple dancing. And today, the inclusiveness, you can see Lindy Hop all over the world. People dance no matter what nationality they have. The freedom in this dance come from the music, jazz music, because jazz music is based on freedom and improvisation. So jazz music is about communication. It's usually an instrument who communicate with another instrument, or one instrument communicating with the whole orchestra. So the freedom in this one is the same with the couple dance. If I do something with my dancing, holding on to my partner I'm dancing with, my partner can communicate with me. It's a communication. It's not I should manipulate my partner to do something. We are supposed to communicate with each other. And the joy in the whole thing, I don't know if it's the stereotype Lindy Hopper has a smile on the face and a little finger doing this, but I think it's the joy that comes from it is to see another person enjoying themselves at the same time. It becomes a duplicate joy in the whole thing that you are doing something together. I think my wife often talk about this, having Lindy Hop as a communication without being able to speak with someone. She had a dance at this dance camp called Harangue Dance Camp, where she danced with someone from Madagascar. And they had no verbal chance to understand each other. But they understand this, and they started dancing on the floor. And afterward, it felt like, yeah, I know this person. I know the feelings. I know what because you can say so much with the face and with the body. So I find this very interesting in the communication part of the dance. So we are back in now when we got the question, and now I have to say it was the initiative from Diyarbakir. It's an organization called the Swing Ahmed, or the Mesopotamia Jazz. Sorry, I always forget. Once again, Mesopotamia Jazz Music and Dance Culture Association. Yes, they were the one taking initiative, looking for partners to work to change, make a change for children in Diyarbakir. And the way they wanted to do that is through couple dance. So they were looking for people to work with who had experience working with children within swing dancing. And now it could be probably other kinds of style of couple dancing. But our dear friend Elin Rodiner, she was a friend of ours who saw this and connected us together. And we did an application for the Creative Force. And the whole thing was us to give our knowledge to their teachers and volunteers, and then for them to meet children in Diyarbakir. And they were looking at children in poor neighborhoods, and they wanted to have, because there are many different, in Diyarbakir, there are many different, I would say, ethnic groups. There were Kurdish, Arabic, and Turkish. How you can mix these children with couple dancing, where you don't need to talk. You are just seeing each other, holding each other. So our education for them, we give them tools to use Lindy Hop. How to do couple acrobatics, what we call couple teamwork, how to work with all kinds of music, how to use the cultural heritage, where the culture exchange, where we use the Swedish folk dancing for our Swedish children, and how they had these wedding dances that they involved in finding new grips within couple dancing. We also had some lessons in, sometimes you need to teach children but this is more pedagogic idea, but how you teach children who are there, that they choose, I would like to do this, but it can also be a teacher who say, the children should do this. So then there's a different approach when the children didn't choose it, but of course the end result is the same. Sorry, I'm looking. So I just would like to show my friend Elin, because I'm gonna show you her describing our project with Diyarbakir, because she was a big part of this. So here's Elin. This is recorded, so but it's an interview with Elin, how it all started. 1 second. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Elin. I've been a project manager in the Dance and Rights project. I have also been teaching some dancing. My profession has been dancing for a while, and combined with other things such as project management. So this project was really spot on for me. I ended up in the project somehow because of Facebook. I saw a Facebook post where some people were looking for a partner in Sweden to help them apply for a grant. And when I read the post, there was no doubt that Hanna and Mattias M&H Production, or Kalabalindi as the collective of dancers is called, was the perfect fit for this project. So I tried to get them both to connect, and here we are today. It's been great. And so far we have done the workshops on Zoom, but we have also developed a curriculum, or like a compendium with do's and don'ts and tools to use when teaching swing dancing to kids, which is amazing. This is something that can be used for a long time onwards, not only now within the project limit. I have also seen that we have strengthened the local community a lot, and I hope that this can just continue and we can do the same in many more places and cities, because I really believe that the tools that we have built and all the subjects that we have addressed within this project are really great way of both creating like a positive dance experience for a lot of young kids, but also like addressing topics such as gender roles, equality, freedom of speech, communication, moving your body to music. All of this is really great, and we need more of it today because we are seeing and facing big divisions in the world. Like we have segregation, we have lots of inequalities, we see less and less freedom of speech and democracy principles being threatened every day. So I think it's super important to find ways to do this without it being very obvious, let's say. So we try to sneakily add this into the curriculum without people even noticing. They're just dancing and having fun. So for me, I feel like the motivation to be in the project has really been this part, that we have a chance to give back to the Lindy Hop culture or community or whatever. And also on a bigger scale, I have been very privileged my whole life, and therefore I see this as a great chance to give back something. And I mean, Lindy Hop is great for this because it inherently has this, like, it comes from a place of inequality and segregation, and the culture is built upon that. It's an expression of this joy, and also a way to just cope. And therefore, when we use this as a tool for these topics that I mentioned, it has this inbuilt in the roots of the dance and the roots of the music, and therefore it's a match. It's perfect. And I mean, so far we have reached the local community, we have developed skills, we have strengthened the local teachers and their ability to teach kids. But in the long term, I see really no ending to this. This curriculum and the tools that we have developed, they can be used over and over again for a really long time, and also for other projects. So I don't really see any stopping in this. Like, it can just continue and grow. But obviously the corona has made it a bit tricky for us to teach kids today, that which was a part of the goal for now, but hopefully we can see this as the first step, and then we just continue.
All right.
I just want to.
Oh, sorry.
It was super fun, and
one second.
Really enjoying the ride, and feeling very blessed to be a part of this project.
No, sorry. Yes. So I think Elin, she is a very good. Verbally, she can say what this project has been all about. But like she said, it's very hard now. We had to do the workshops on Zoom. We have, I have done a lot of children workshops over the digital communication. And I think it's time for us to communicate. I think you are ready. So it doesn't matter if you have your picture there or not. But because I could see that all of you could clap your hands. So Lindy Hop and the swing dances is all about music, call and response. That's a communication. So I'm now going to communicate with you, but I will not hear you, but I will just, you do this if you want. We are going to do call and response, but in a more imitating way. Of course, call and response should be, I do something and then you say whatever you want. But first, to get warm, we're going to try the communication if you can do what I can do. So I'm going to clap my hands and you will answer me. We'll do a test. We'll do the exactly same rhythm like Anina. Exactly. So that's the whole idea. I go and then you go, but I cannot hear you. So, but I imagine you doing a lot of cool things. Okay, here we go. One more time. Rhythm dance. I go. Wonderful. We will communicate again, but now I will do it this way. Can you hear me? Wonderful. Here I go. I am super impressed. But now, for those who want to, we will now use our legs instead. All right, I have my, 1 second. So I go, and then, so you have to stand up now. Sorry, yes. And we're gonna use our feet. You can sit down and use your feet, of course, as well. So I go, and then you go. You are amazing. And now comes the test. You will stand up and you will imitate me without looking. Okay. Are you ready with your feet? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. The last one. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, I love it. It was very. It was maybe not the best communication where you should imitate me, but then you can start to play around. Your right leg go kluk 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 kluk. So your legs are talking with yourself. Wonderful exercise. Anyway, again, this was quite a personal story about my, but I think I forgot half of the things I was supposed to say. I had it up here, but feel free to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Matthias. I wish we had. I wish I had, you know, a really big screen to see you all doing this dance, because it looked wonderful. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. I think it's. I think one of the things that I really thought of in your presentation was how this sort of how quick and fluid dance can travel. It's an intangible heritage. It's a heritage that don't have a physical form, but it can move so fast and for so long time. There's only, as I understand it, there's only this Frankie Manning sort of between you and the inventor of Lindy Hop, which is 100 years and many continents. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see how far dance can travel. We have some questions.
Sorry. I
Sorry.
realized now what I forgot.
Sorry.
Because talking about this, that you said, the travel, I just want to say that the last thing that I'm working on, working with is that I'm working with a dancer from Uganda. So I have just 30 seconds more of dancing. I want to show you they're working with this project in Uganda where they basically go to a poor place where they offer food and dancing. So this is what we're trying to work on now. Elias would like to share. Is that okay? 30 seconds. Sorry, and it's just my technical. And there we go. Sorry, I gotta share the. You didn't get the music now.
No.
Sorry, 1 second. Do it again. Share some. Now it's gone.
No sound.
Oh, sorry, there's no sound, but we can watch here. Is a guy named Okerut George who is teaching dances. Here's it's the capital of Uganda, so I don't remember the name. Teaching dancing, and we try to get funding for doing more of these dance workshops. Workshops, yeah. Wonderful doing swing dancing in Uganda. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you so much. We have a question here in the chat. It's from Pendale and Selena. How is it inclusive to disabled? And I mean, we talked about the body in the last session. How do you can you elaborate on the how to include?
No, I mean that is a very difficult question in dancing in general. How to work with dancing in that perspective. It depends on the disabilities. You can do dancing only with the arms, or you could do dancing only with the legs, or I mean, it can be working more with improvisation, how you move to music. This was very, can be in front of each other and work with dancing. But I agree, it's a very difficult thing. We haven't been working a lot with this, so it's something that dancing, you have to find that perspective in one way. Yeah.
Just to add on that, I think that when we talk about disabilities and dance, we often think of the physical disabilities, but I think that there are other disabilities where dance actually can be a more helpful way to communicate.
Yes.
If you have a disability connected to, reading or listening or things like that, you can actually communicate in a way that is equal.
Yeah.
So it's really it's an important question.
Yeah.
It's connected to what type of disability. Do we have any more? I don't see any raised hand right now. Anina is waving her hand.
Yes. Thank you so much, Matthias, for the presentation. Extremely interesting. And also how you work with dance to raise different questions and topics. I was thinking of that do you see, I mean, Lindy Hop, as you said, it's a dance form that has walked, a long way at this point.
Yeah.
And do you see in different countries that it, is interpreted differently?
Yes, very. And this is what I think is great, because now I've been traveling, doing swing dancing in China, or doing it I've been to Russia or South Africa. There is always a different perspective on the dance that the people try to find. Once I was part of an introduction of Lindy Hop into Russia in 2001, and when we came there, the dances was all about standard dancers, and now we had to say, no, just relax. And they were like, no, but this is not this is not dancing. yes, it's supposed to be free and it doesn't have to be a position. And so definitely it's interesting if you can find the heritage of that place, how you can put that into the dance. So yes.
Yeah, I can just imagine, because dance can be, mean so different, a different thing in different places. So it's the heritage probably comes through as well.
And it was very nice when I was in South Africa teaching, because they wanted to find some authentic jazz music. So it was that they had some early recordings from the 60s where there was this special instrument, a metal flute. I don't remember the name of it, but they even create dance evenings where they dance the Lindy Hop to this original South African jazz music, which I found it got a very on a depth. It got very. It was very interesting and very enthusiastic. I got very enthusiastic when I danced.
I think that would be a really good transfer, because we need to move forward in the program. So thank you so much, Matthias. You ended here talking about South Africa, and now we are going to head over to South Africa and Radikoba Nitmane for the third presentation of today. So, and if there are any more questions, on Lindy Hop or norms and things like that, we have time after the last presentation to sort of catch up on everything. So thank you, Matthias. And now we're gonna listen to Radikoba and the session called Learning Through Song and Dance in the Intangible Heritage of the Rites of Passage. So most welcome, Radikoba.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. I'm trying to share with you through share screen so that you may be able to follow my presentation as well through PowerPoint. Are you able to follow?
Yes, we see the PowerPoint. We do, or I do at least. I think that's the same.
And you can hear me.
And we can hear you. I think if you press, start presentation, you get full screen, because now we see the menus and things like that. I guess you press slideshow in the top menu. There.
Now we are together.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. And I will present on learning through song and dance in intangible heritage, exploring the possibilities of a time travel method. It has already been discussed here that in Africa, we are singing and dancing from cradle to the grave, whether we are joyful or whether we are sad. There is a lot of dance and songs, especially singing in those periods. I have chosen 4 rites of passage from among the South African Sintu-speaking groups, the Zulus, the Sotho-Tswana people. Some references will be made to other Sintu-speaking groups as well. And these rites of passage will be Umemulo for Zulu maidens, Bukhwera or Libullo for Sotho-Tswana young men, Linyalo for Sotho-Tswana couples, marriage, and Upotula for Zulu diviners. all these four have got common features that I would like to take you through. A candidate for these rites of passage will for them chosen a proper time, or they themselves choose a proper time. So it's about time. It is very important for those who are going to participate to have the right time. They will be instructed for a life of a new person, because these are rites of passage. They'll be expected to display new conduct, new behavior. A beast will be slaughtered for the passing out ceremony. There'll be a special cleansing ritual. The people will be publicly presented in a ceremony. They will be presented, or they come out so that the public may see them. They will have a new name as an individual, or a group name if it's a regiment. And then there will be song and dance. And those who have passed through this rite will answer either to their peers or to the gatekeepers of the new status in which they are. The first one will be umemulo. Umemulo, as I said, is for young maidens between 15 to 20 years. And it is the father of the girl who is going to perform this umemulo for the girl. It is like a thanksgiving to the maiden for remaining chaste until that age that the father determines it is old enough. And some people have written, I will not go into the academics and the quoting of literature, but it is a marriageable age, arguably so. And often is for those whose virginity has been examined and they found that they are indeed virgins, but it's also for people who have not had children yet, and it will be assumed that they are virgins without testing them, and their parents will thank them that they did not have children before marriage. And when the father has decided to perform umemulo, this young woman will be accompanied by her friends. They visit relatives, and they go to the maternal uncle to fetch a spear. And then there will be a period for seclusion. And the young woman and her friends will be covered in the red ochre, ubovu, to show that they are going through a rebirth stage. There is no formal instruction while a person is in seclusion. The assumption is that the instruction as she grew up and reached this stage of umemulo, the instruction of remaining chaste and respecting adults has been enough. So with umemulo, you also have the day of the event that I spoke about, the public presentation of the candidate. The father and the daughter will go out, and the father will announce that she is now grown up to be married. She's grown enough, and the father will say the praise, the cleanse praise poems, praise names, izibongo and izithakazelo, and honor the girl with those. And the daughter will be dressed in a cowhide skirt, which is called isidwaba, to show she's of the marriageable age. And this isidwaba is normally reserved for married women, but she can also wear it to show that she is prepared for that, for crossing into the marriage state. And she will be dressed with a layer of fat that is found inside the inside part of the skin of the cow. It's called umkhere, to show that she is still a virgin, she's still intact, if you like. And she will be covered in her head either with istol or mwazi, which is normally for married women, for the same reason, to show that she is now ready. But these also serve that whoever wants to give her gifts, they can pin the paper money on her headgear. And as one person who I have interviewed, Princess Tobedile Zulu, said, This is to show that she has a crown, she has won against all the temptations that came across to her. The spear that she carries is normally carried only by those who are who have been chaste, and by brides who were chaste during their marriage, and you can step the earth, and wherever you in front of the person that you step, the person is obliged to give you a gift of money that they put on your head. Now, the dance that she's going to dance is an easy one called Ugusina, because she's dressed in this cowhide skirt, and it is not easy to do vigorous dances in that kind of skirt. The lesson for Umemulo is that one has kept herself chaste, and the father will honor you with that. I've got a small clip of music for Umemulo, but it is in my cell phone, so I will not attempt to play it, otherwise I may take a lot of time. The next rite of passage is Bohuera or Lebullo for 15 to 24-year-old men. They also will know when the time comes, because they themselves will want to go, or their parents will tell them now it is time to go. So either the father chooses, or the local community, if it's going to be for a big group, is the local leader who decides once in 3 years, amongst the Tswanas especially, that the group is going out, and the people of that age group will join. They go into seclusion outside, either in the mountain or in the bushes. That's where they go. And as this is initiation for young men, there will be surgery. And this kind of a cut in their manhood shows that they will suffer the pain together, and it's strengthening their bond. While out in seclusion, there'll be instruction by a Musue, mainly on the do's and the don'ts of things as an adult, as a man. Now you are no longer a boy, now you are a man. These are the things to do and not to do. They will also, at the passing out or graduation, ritual cleansing, the smearing of red ochre on their bodies, and they will have new clothes to show their newness as they pass out, come out of seclusion. And that ceremony will conclude the period of seclusion or of initiation. There will be individuals singing their signature songs. They hold a stick and declare their new identity in a praise poem called We Talk. That is the one you can hear. Yes, those are the young men initiated from Lesotho. You see their blankets seem all to be red because of the red ochre. And that is the young man who was showing the public his new identity. Now we move to a next one called Linyalo. This is it's common in all cultures, marriage. In some form or the other, people get married and they publicly declare, either by showing only in rings or more than rings. After a lobola is paid or bride pays dowry, and then the family agrees that she will go into seclusion at least 1 week before. This seclusion helps to avoid possible sorcery contamination or being bewitched. Some people say they go into seclusion to have a lighter complexion and by staying away from the sun, so that on their big day they look beautiful and better. There are instructions by the in-laws on the big day. And there is also medicinal fortification against possible witchcraft, as I said, especially on the main day. And then songs are practiced as some sort of choreography. This will not be a common one. Each song may have its own step or form of dance that they call setepe in Setswana, Sepedi, and Sesotho. And the bridesmaid will also practice this kind of dance. When the big day starts, also new clothes, there's a veil, and there are vows of new life. And then instructions will be in song, sung mainly for the bride as she's going to the new environment, and not so much for the groom. The bride cries openly, especially when there is now a formal instruction. In songs, the instruction is informal. So here, elders will stand up and give instruction on how the bride will behave or should behave when she is moving into the groom's place. Now, there won't be much dance, but there will be singing because she is in a big flowing dress. So you can't do much dance, except that her bridesmaid and the groom's maid will have an opportunity to dance. Those are just books speaking about resilience and traditional healing. Now I'm moving into an area of ukuphothula, becoming a healer, a diviner. I'm starting with this short video, and I would like you to observe the footwork of the two women. There are two particular distinct footwork. There is a slow one, and then there is a one that is faster. You need to observe the feet to catch it. Yeah, there. Ukuphothula is preceded by a call by one's ancestors. You will realize this call by minor mishaps, and there might be major one like an accident if you do not take into account these mishaps that are happening in your life. If these now give you unrest, you cannot rest without headaches, pain, inexplicable mishaps. You go to another diviner who will confirm that you have a call. And then you'll go into seclusion for training. You are trained how to drum and sing for a trance, how to interpret dreams, how to find herbs to cure ailments and conduct and the conduct of a diviner. And then when you come home, you will also have red and white beads around your wrists and your ankles, and you'll also be covered in red ochre. Before entering the homestead, there is a confession of the bad and the evil of the past life. Then the initiate or the diviner introduces her new self in song and in dance, and tell the new name and demonstrate the new skills that she has learned. I will not go into that, but I want to show you the commonalities in these 4 rites of passage. Then the dance is done with the initiate, the diviner holding a whisk, like the 2 that we have just seen, and going through a vigorous and energetic dance. That the 2 dances that we have seen previously are not one of these. This is not one of them. I mean. She'll have a heart for consultation and publicly dressed in diviner's regalia. This is not a real rite of passage. but a profession. It's not only what the person will do. I just brought it in because of the commonalities. The ceremony marks a new life of service for this person. And we can see in this next short video of a man who is coming out, and he sings his introductions. You may have observed that he says the same line again and again, and this is to assist the person to go into a trance. The repetition, even the drums will do the same monotonous type thing for the trance. So we have seen all those four. Now I go into discussion, which is the main thing for us today. How can the intangible heritage be used in time travel events? Because these are, all four of them are the heritage of the speaking people. And can we explore them to see if we can teach people better life, even if we ourselves do not go into these ceremonies in real life. Time travel, as it has already been said by the previous presenters, deals with major issues like democracy, landlessness, many others, gender inequality, gender-based violence, and the like, and the like. Time travel employs the 5 senses that we have so that the time travel can be better experienced: smelling, tasting, hearing, touching, seeing. And then as time travelers, we are also historians, and we are led to do research because of the curiosity that we have. We can use oral inquiry, we can go to archives, photography, archaeology, and the like, because we have got a curiosity. We want to confirm something, or we want to know something. Now, in the time travel method, there are 2 segments of the scenario sequence that are used for instruction. One is the small group activity, another one is the dialogue. Only in a few participants, a small group activity allows few people, because in this small group activity that I think Anina referred to, we can warm up to each other, and it is easy to speak because it is not intimidating. And the facilitator of the small group activity can guide us to have everyone have a chance to speak. Dialogue is open, and only few brave ones contribute to the main question. And this is for everyone. It allows a bigger group, and it can intimidate some people. From the 4 intangible heritage events, we have noted the following. 1, there is time, opportune time. There is seclusion. There is formal and informal instruction. There is learning through song and dance, slaughtering of a beast, special cleansing, expression of new identity and name, taking new responsibilities, and holding a stick or a spear. Now, these we have observed. The small group activity can be used for seclusion, for intensive instruction. We can, in this instruction that happens in the 4 rites of passage, we can choose the instruction that is given there when we use the small group activity. Pardon me. There is a time travel literature for those who are not familiar with it. And do we have precedents of using one thing for another? For instance, as we are exploring the possibility of going into using time travel to give lessons for pastoralist girls. Yes, there are precedents. One, Adolf Hitler used to have the Protestant confirmation class. Those from Scandinavia are familiar with the Lutheran churches, and they've got confirmation classes. So he used it to instill amongst the youth Herrenvolkism or super race mentality. So we have a precedent there. There is another precedent among the Xhosa people. Christians have taken the initiation coming out. I've shown you the initiation of the Sotho Tswanas, but the Xhosas also in South Africa, they've got initiation. And the Christians instill Christian conduct at the graduation of the initiates, and they also hand out Bibles, and they do a lot of instruction there, how the young men should conduct themselves as adult responsible men. Rites of passage can also be explored using the time travel method and instill life-enhancing lessons from the youth. Pardon me, they instill them amongst the youth. Now I'm glad that the people from Tanzania have spoken before me, because they clearly said what needs to be done with the pastoralist girls. In South Africa during the time of HIV and AIDS, when it was very rife and strong, we had organizations increasing to support the children or to support the caregivers of children or the orphaned and vulnerable children. Of the many support given to the orphaned and vulnerable children, Sinomlando Center at the University of KwaZulu-Natal gave psychosocial support. Other people will give clothes, shoes, money, and the like and the like. So Sinomlando Center concentrated on enhancing resilience amongst the orphaned and vulnerable children, so that they could cope better when they know who they are, who they were, when they've got a real identity. It was understood that they will be able to have resilience. The caregivers were trained to tell to the orphans their positive family stories, so their identity can be solidified. When the children are orphans, they don't know who they are, where they come from, where they are going. They lose their bearing in life. So the caregivers can tell them that, in fact, you are the son or a daughter of so-and-so, and these are the things that your father was able to do or your mother was able to do. You are not a useless person, you have an identity. So the orphans can be able to say, I am so-and-so. And now I have shown in these 4 rites of passage that people have an opportunity there to be able to say, I am so-and-so. Now this, the orphans and vulnerable children can say. Also, Sinomlando said the orphans and vulnerable children can be taught skills so they are able to proudly say, I am. Pardon me, I can. They are able to do something. Now, when this method is connected to the time travels, people do small group activity, and that also can help them to say, when I came, I could not do this, but now I can. That enhances their resilience and solidifies them as persons. In conclusion, can song and dance be used to instruct the energetic youths when rites of passage are chosen in time travels? Composing songs and creating dance comes easy to Africans, and Mildred has emphasized that. Small group activity can empower the timid to speak and be assertive. Small group dance can give identity to participants. Dialogue, which is the last part of the time travel sequence, can be explored to address a large group to show how many people agree with the life-enhancing lesson. the lessons that is, so that you see that it's not only in the small group that I have learned this, but I have also learned it in a big group, and I'm not the only one who understands and want to take this as a lesson in life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a really interesting presentation on the rites of passage and song and dance. And we have some, sorry, I can't see the clock here. We have some minutes left for discussions and questions on this specific presentation, and then we leave the last part of the seminar for a general discussion on anything. Let's see if we have any digitally raised hands or something in the chat. Let's see, I think
Could I ask something?
Yes, you can, Mildred. Absolutely. Welcome.
I wanted to ask Radikobo, when he mentioned that something about testing for virginity of the young girls, I feel that is a violation of their rights. And I think it really should not be allowed in the current situation. Or maybe it was practiced in the past. Does it still happen today?
Hello, Mildred.
How are you?
Yes, indeed. I am fine. I'm fine. I agree with you that it's a violation, but the people who go choose, those who go for testing choose. No one is grabbed or from their homes or forced to go. I think their parents instill it in them that they are better people when they are tested, and then they choose to go. They are not forced. And they have formed themselves into strong groups that advocates for this virginity testing. But you will remember that I also said that their virginity is not only confirmed by physical testing of their privacy, but also when they don't have children, they are also regarded as virgins by the parents or the fathers who make this umemulo, rite of passage for them. There are advocacy groups, and that speaks like you, that people should not go, but if they go themselves, they choose.
But what is there similar ceremony for boys to confirm the same for the boy child, or it's just for the girl child?
No, there is no similar one. That one has since died. This one was revived by His Majesty King Zwelithini, who has recently passed away. It was revived especially to combat promiscuity or premarital sex. They promoted this chastity so that people cannot be involved themselves in premarital sex. And they chose them. They are choosing themselves to go. And they also choose to stop from going. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I think that Mildred just got a call, but I think it's a very interesting discussion connected to the rite of passage. But we are going over to Gulshera, who has raised her hand. Gulshera Khan.
Can you hear me, Adam?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Radikobo, for a comprehensive presentation. Yeah, I just want to add a few things that probably if we have more time, we cannot discuss this in detail. One of the ways in South Africa of retaining information and recording is through composition of a song. And that song, it translates from generation to generation to generation. So it is kind of intact. And Radikobo can say whether I'm correct or I am incorrect information. The other is when we are working quite hard in the mines, like hard labor, physical hard labor, digging, there's always a song to kind of bring together togetherness and to relieve that pain of hard work. Songs were also used during apartheid, and it can still be used now, where the composition of song is for passing of a message. So if we want to, during apartheid years, pass a message from one town to the other or to across the border, it can be in a composition of a song. And then finally, I just want to say that it is a great equalizer in a time travel, because like Radikobo has mentioned, in a small group, it creates a kind of equality where people feel equal in participation. It is very good to end up and to, in a fun way, exchange cultural norms and values. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gulshera. Would you like to add something to that, Radikobo?
Yes, Gulshera has hit the nail on the head. Song is used in almost every situation. I only said from cradle to grave, but she mentions also situations of work where you can form a partnership, where you can strengthen the bonds. That song has been used in protests that we have seen in the presentations, in the time travels that have happened in South Africa. We have seen one time travel about marriage or wedding, pardon me, which I did not participate in, but Ebe can attest to that. It happened in a place called Promosa in Potchefstroom in my hometown. So already someone has used this wedding, linyalo, as a way of exploring the possibilities of education in time travel. But as I said, Mildred has asked about the rights of people.
I was standing
now,
asking
this woman sent her daughter out, and she had some opposition.
That is how they sing, and then they dance again. You know the dances of Kosha, so Gavisa, because of being happy for having achieved.
Any other thing on top of it, Dr.
I would just like to say, izinto zethu zichaza ukuthi singobani. Modern as we may become, educated as we can go, but I'm one person that appreciates and I'm one person that is very strict in distincting the two, because there are things that they were part of us, but they are not allowed for us, Christians, especially born again Christians, for us to do, because they lean more on worshiping the other god or other gods or something else. And I'm one person, in as much as I'm a born again Christian and pastor or prophet, who is able to differentiate and celebrate who I am besides bowing to any other power. So I have had so many oppositions as I was preparing, such that from many people and the like. So I was standing firmly asking, what is it that is actually stopping me from Gwenzelingale? Because I'm not bowing to anyone. I'm just saying to my girl, good work, and to others as well who are seeing. They can see, okay, should I know there is this, something beautiful that you can get out of it. So it is just an encouragement to any other parent because there is no reward at the end. But many girls that we hear for Smobiles Memulo, even now, they are very excited. They wish they could come back because they saw something beautiful, and which is a reward. So if you can afford, you don't have to do something big, but just to appreciate. Usually when we intombi zemula zisebenzisa ihayo, zisebenzisa amagama okuthi baba. And I remember now I'm cutting a mula a while ago, years back. So what I did for my tutor is what I was done for me by my parents. So we carried it through. And so we were using ama you don't have any meaning. It's just the song, when like for instance in Jena, okay, we were singing this one in City, and my brother was Usiso, from my Baba Mnanwan City. Kusbusiso yabaleki impela, nansi impi uye wakwelintaba, yabale uyase sabatina, wabalega wakwelintaba. This is yes.
What? This is a princess amongst one of the houses, the royal houses of the Zulus. And what she says is she sees Umemulo as a reward for her daughter, but it's also an identity of who she is, that they continue with this rite of passage. She held opposition. She leads a church, but she insisted that her daughter should get Umemulo. Not that she must be virginity being tested, but that a memulo is made for her. Thanks.
Thank you. We have some comments in the chat here. First is from Pendaili or Selina. It says, Radkobi, it's true that they agree themselves, but I think it's directly connected to culture. So they praise, and that is why they are proudly agreeing. It's the same apply for FGM in those tribes practicing. And then we have two comments more that sort of relate to this. It's Mildred who says, in the African setting, I doubt if the young girls have a decision. I feel it is retrogressive. And Muchimi, who says, totally agree with Mildred. It is tough being a girl, more so a pastoralist girl in Africa. And I would like to, if I may, sort of merge these questions to this, these comments to a question of, because in these rites of passages, we have, of course, the heritage, the traditions that are praised and that many people want to experience, be a part of. At the same time, there are elements that can be vulnerable, that are, I mean, in the rite of passage, looking at that from an anthropology point of view, you should always have sort of two elements of violence in the beginning and the end. Could you elaborate a bit on that one, Radikoba? How should we act on rites of passages when there are violence connected to them. Do you have any?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it should be opposed vehemently with everything that one has, should oppose it. And as I said, there are lobby groups, advocacy groups that oppose these. But I'm especially speaking about this one of Umemulo, the last one the princess spoke about. Because there are chances that, I mean, it is very less scientific, this, because the absence of virginity does not necessarily mean that a young maiden has been promiscuous. And if you concentrate only on the intactness of the young girl, then you are missing the mark. However, if a young woman wants to be seen that she has been chaste, she has kept herself according to the proper appraising of that family, and if the family wants to make for her umemulo, they can. If they say, now you are old enough, you can now begin to entertain boys as boyfriend, girlfriend, I mean, it is fine. But its shortcomings is when they want to use a scientific outcome without a scientific tool to measure the virginity. That is where it goes wrong. And I think it should be vehemently opposed. But now, while there has been a revival in the late 1980s, early 1990s of the testing, virginity testing, it had stopped, but it was revived by the late king, as I have said. While it has happened, there are still people who have adopted the 21-year-old birthday as a sign for a girl and a boy to decide whether they can fall in love with boys or boys can fall in love with girls. And I'm not sure how much physical violence happens there. It cannot be likened to the one that is it FGM? Yes. And if it's the girls themselves who want to go, it is fine. It's not be the parents and the pressure of the parents saying you will not get a goat or a cow slaughtered in your honor if you do not go for testing. But the goat, a cow, and whatever thing that they can get, it does not have to be demonstrated through intact private parts. They do it even without.
Okay, thank you. We have a raised hand here. It's from Terry Kilpeläinen. So please, Terry.
Hi, I just coming from just starting with time travel method and everything, and knowing that all cultures, all forms, all groups of people have all their own traditions and norms and societal practices. But when it comes to these kinds of, in some ways, sensitive rights, traditional rights, how can they be used in a safe way for time travels? You touched about it a little bit, but I get confused of how to, in a safe and informed way, both show the different perspectives of these rights. Do you get? I don't know if I get my question correctly, but it's like, how do you use these rights in a safe way for time traveling?
Thank you. A time travel is supposed to be a safe space. At least that is what I have written about it in the past. It's a safe space for everyone to speak. And a time travel, for it to be very informative, it needs tension. So a tension of the ideas, as you have said. Some people be, should women vote or should they not vote? And then you have got that tension in the discussion. Do we receive the expatriates? Do we receive the immigrants, or we don't receive them? How are we going to handle the situation? In the time travel with regard to rites of passage, not only this one, any of them. I do not know the others from East Africa, but they may be there. The tension can be, should I go or should I not go? What are the values of going and the values of not going? Are there any advantages and disadvantages? That dialogue can be created so that people become aware. I have written in the past about the rite of passage of the male, especially amongst the Xhosas, in one journal, where I argue that people can still be complete male. They choose which way to express their masculinity in, rather than going through the initiation of circumcision. You can live full life as a man, and you can be accepted as a man even when you do not go. Of course, I had opposition from a Xhosa friends here and there, but one can argue with this one that can you go, can you not go? Because you have,
sorry for interrupting you. My question, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but my question leads to if time traveling is using historic venues or history situations, and then you talk about this ritual practice that's very important for people, that is also being used today. Is it being used as a lesson of choosing, or a lesson of you have your own right to choose what you do with your body, or listen to your families and history values? Like what is it questioning?
It starts with the intangible heritage. There is heritage that is negative and heritage that is positive. I brought these because they are still practiced today. Can we use them in a time travel in a situation of not only young pastoralist girls, but everyone else?
So as to teach them that they have a voice and a choice.
Yes.
In how they use their body, but also, okay, so.
Yeah, for us to be able to address these negatives in the intangible heritage of rites of passage, we are exploring bringing them into the time travel and interrogate them for their positivity or their negativity. But if pastoralist girls in Tanzania and Kenya are not assertive, if they are not sure of their identity, if they are in a situation like in South Africa where you have got orphan and vulnerable children who cannot develop because of their identity as orphan and vulnerable children, can the same situation used at the University of KwaZulu-Natal of enhancing resilience, can it be appropriated in the situation in Kenya for pastoralist girls, where they can have resilience? It sounds as if in Kenya, they are not orphans or vulnerable, but they have vulnerability by being pastoralist. So one needs to explore such a similar situation in a South African setup or in Kenya setup, Tanzania, sorry.
Thank you, Radikobo Chair. If you'll allow me, Adam, may I?
We have one comment from Pendaeli and Selina. I think that one could go first, but I wrote it down. Maybe it's...
Thank you very much, Radikobo and Adam. I think for the pastoralist girls here in Tanzania, to enable for them to say, to have a say for the right passage of the age, is for them to build capacity. We have to build capacity of them through clubs, especially when they are in a young age. And this is what we are doing in health clubs for the 2 pilot schools. Yeah.
Health clubs. Health.
Yeah. Yeah. Health clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Selina. We should go over to Mildred.
Thank you, Adam. I believe in the African setting, time travel is a very good methodology to explore the rites of passage in whichever form. And so I agree with what Radikobo is presenting. My only point of departure is that in the same time travel, we must be able to educate the girl to say no when their right is infringed. It should be, and in the time travel, I know the way we've tried to use it in Kenya is that we bring together the young and the old so that the discussion is also engaging the parents who most times would force the children, so that in a free way, people discuss and come to an agreement that yes, the girl, there should be a rite of passage, but in a manner that is accepted and not forced. And even if the girl were willing, I think it is retrogressive, and we must be able to teach the girls. I don't know, there's no way you're going to take a girl for a cut because they have said yes. But the society makes it appear like if the girl will not say yes, then they will not marry. And I think that was why at some point in the North, they were saying, bring the young girls and the young boys together so that there is a discussion, there is an acceptance, and there is a way of carrying out our rites of passage in acceptable manner. We can keep the tradition, but do away with the retrogressive practices.
Much appreciated, Mildred. I will add it in my exploration of further exploration of the paper I'm preparing, because what you have recorded is not what I've written. What I've said, I've also started to write for later publication. Thanks.
So these discussions are very important, and we can see how heritage traditions, song dance is something that is complicated and engages people. At the same time, it's something that's valued and fun. So it's a difficult matter. But I think we have about 20 minutes left for until we set end of the seminar. So if we have any discussions or questions on the other presentation as well, we can open up for those. We have been talking a bit early on about norms and bodies, and I think that we are all sort of working in the sort of same area here, because this is where we have the sort of really intense meetings with song, dance, bodies, and traditions meet. So please feel free to open up for a wider discussion if you like. So I know that some of you participants have changed devices, so maybe we have a better connection now to Brazil or something like that. I see that Terry is raising a hand. Kajsa Lund, who is a music archaeologist from Sweden, says thanks a lot for interesting day. She has to leave now. She reported earlier that she should go by 4:30, but she stayed on for a bit more. So Terry, I think that you are first in line.
This is, first of all, I want to thank all of you for your very interesting and giving talks, all of you. But my question actually goes for everybody, because this seminar is about dancing, and we talked about gender norms and issues, just like Adam said. But going from Matthias of having dance as having a lead and a follower, because I know that in time travel, what I've learned about it, it's been very important that gender and age stays the same for the individual that participates. But with lead and follow, if you think about use or time travel and think about a leader of a dance, or if it's couples dancing, it's a leader and a follower. How can, like thinking about Annina's presentation, that way you could dance through a time travel, couldn't you, if you have a conversation through lead and follow? And this is a very wide question again, so sorry. So can you time travel using lead and follow instead of gender norms or genders, to summarize?
Now we have the difficult part here is that we have many people who raised their hand, but I don't know if they are sort of want to comment on that one, or if they have another comment. So please make yourself known if you want to add on Terry's question here.
We had to that.
Annina could add to that.
Yeah. It's a very interesting question, actually, and something I have thought quite a lot about when choosing dances, because and the lead and follow part is actually something that can be used quite a lot. It's easier also, because if you put it very strictly that, okay, girls and boys here now, but because you can also have the situation that there's more boys or more girls, and then there can be that, okay, then some might be excluded, because, you know, if there's like 10 boys and 15 girls, and if you say that you have to dance with a boy, then there's some who can't basically dance, and that's just stupid. So then there's also this, that if you have the possibility to choose dances where you don't have to dance as a couple, or like in a circle, or then that I have also done that I make basically no mention of the gender. I just say, yeah, grab a person next to you, basically, and that is in one way yeah, that I don't make any use of the gender. I just say basically like grab a friend by the hand, and then we are 2 and 2 together. Okay, let's go. So that is one way of dealing with it. But of course, if you then have more couple dancing situations, then you need to say to one of them that they're supposed to lead, because otherwise nothing happens, perhaps. So
is that, thank you, Annina. And this idea I have with that, or thought I have, is that is also a way to explore gender norms, to explore expressions of traditional manliness, traditional femaleness, and to question, well, put it into today, to use the time travel method. So, yeah.
Because you can also have the situation that you have in the time travel a child or a youth who says that I don't identify with this gender now, when you try to give them an apron or a vest, for example, and then they say, no, I don't identify with this gender. So there's many things in this that can be problematic, if you stick to kind of that, no, now we're supposed to do like this. So yeah, but gender is an interesting component in many ways in time travels as well, and brings to the table interesting questions and discussions as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we have not raised hand here. It's Taisha from Brazil with a better connection.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you all for this amazing evening for me. Morning here, actually. Yes, but I want to add one thought in this discussion is about dance is not just performing arts. Dance today is a field of knowledge. We are in the university, we have our own theory. So today I think I just understand in all the works dance as a performing art. I think all of you was looking to dance most as a dance, the movement and what we can do with the movement. But I miss something about theory about dance, something about Laban, something about how we can think through the body, because this is what we do in dance, in the field of theory of dance. We don't look just the movement, we look all the things that this movement can do. And I think this can help a lot to bring more movement, more thought in this discussion. This is why I earlier talk about the body, because dance, we think in the body, not just in the mind. This is very difficult because now I'm doing my master in archaeology. So my theory in archaeology, I'm trying to put the body, the experience of the body in my theory of archaeology. So I think this can help, not just dance, not putting dance as the illustration of what we are doing in the past, but how we can think in dance, doing this dance about the past and about the present. I don't know if I can, I'm just confused. So is that I want to add.
Thank you so much. I raised my hand now because I want to add something that, and I think that you are lifting something that is very important. And when I have looked at, the time travel method that is sort of developed within this bridging ages, and how can we look at the time travel method from a more theoretical way, I think that we can have really interesting connections here, because you always engage with the body in the time travel method, not with the idea of just reenacting how it really was, but you're actually there with your own body in the present time, because to be honest, we can't travel in time. It's always in present time, and we are always talking about present time, future. So if we are going to take, the time travel method to a new theoretical perspective, maybe we have some interesting connection with dance theory. I guess so, because we have the body in common and sort of involvement with your own body. Maybe that, but I mean, this is another seminar. We need to have more of these. So really good comment, I think. But we're leaving place for Jane Gilo from Kenya now, who's raising a hand.
Yes, I'm Jane from Kenya.
Welcome.
Can I show you my video? Here I am.
Hello.
Yes, great to see you. The time travel is a very good method and I'm from the northern part of Kenya, Marsabit County. Here we are having very good dances, the traditional dances, but integrating it to the culture that is the youth at this time. How can we?
Now I think does everybody else experience a bad connection here?
Yeah, and I'm getting you, no problem. Sorry for that.
No,
there's some connection problem somewhere. And then in the rite of passage, our girls are still in FGM, female genital mutilation. How can we are getting problem from the traditional point of view? How can we integrate the new knowledge so that our girls will not go under this process, so that they just go to the next level without this?
I think we lost the connection again here, but
okay. I hope you got what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But with time we learn more. We are trying to learn more. With the time travel we have started in our Department of Culture and Tourism, but still we need more knowledge on the dancing issue. Thanks.
If I could, as I understand, you want to raise the discussion on.
Sorry, our network is so bad. We have problem with the network. Just accept my apologies.
It's okay. I think I got most of it. It's how we can use the time travel method and working with the rites of passage, especially connected to the FGM.
Bye. Good.
And my short answer would be that you should really connect to Pendaili, who was the time travel coordinator in our last project in Tanzania from Kalmar Country Museum. So Pendaili and Selina is working in the Pivot organization, and they have experience of working with the time travel method, especially in addressing FGM. And I know it has been done working with that in northern Kenya as well. So there are some experience. And the difficult part is that there are certain parts of the rites of passage that are the harmful practices.
Yes.
At the same time, there are other parts that are good and that are cherished by the local community. So it's a really difficult thing to address. But I think that the time travel is a useful there. I don't know. Do you want to add something on that, Pendaili? You have been working on this in the local community in Tanzania.
Yes, Adam, and the rest of the participants. Really, talking of FGM in the community is something which is sensitive, and time travel method has been an effective method to discuss these issues without fear, because a time travel method creates a safe space for everyone to discuss and talk, and later come up with the solutions. And the stance of many people we worked with where we should stop FGM, and this has been possible when we were talking with the various groups in Tanzania. We have discussed this issue in Mtwara. We have discussed also Dodoma. We went to Iringa. We went to Sumbawanga. We went to many regions in Tanzania, and also in Mara, where FGM is really very sensitive and is being practiced day to day. So time travel has been an effective way, and a way which creates free space for everyone to discuss. So it has really achieved in addressing these gender issues, in a sense that a community has to say what is good inside of their culture, what culture should we maintain, and what culture should be abandoned. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a comment from Radikoba here in the chat. He says the presentation attempted to explore the appropriation of positive content, which is life-enhancing rather than disempowering. My point is that such rights are practiced and growing in the new political dispensation where Africans can practice cultural ceremonies freely. And I think that this is really important, that we have to see when we talk about, rites of passage or basically any tradition, we can't do the mistake of just bunching them together and say that this is the whole package, that is a bad thing or a good thing, that we have to see the different parts of it, that the rites of passage can be something positive, of course, but it has to be done freely and also not be connected to violence, physical or psychological violence. So I think that the rites of passage is strong. It's a very strong tradition, and in some parts, Muchimi wrote early on here that there are organizations coming up with alternative rites of passage program, and instead of the cutting of the girl, they attend a week-long seminar where they are taught about good morals, tradition, and culture. So I mean, the rite of passage is just one tradition or a set of traditions.
Adam?
Sorry. Yes, Gulshera?
I don't have, but that's my problem. I don't find a hand that I can raise.
Oh, sorry.
I want to on my computer, so that is why I'm sounding a bit rude. Intercepted. Yeah, I just want to. I think the name is Taisa from Brazil. Yes. Well, I'm an Indian, from South Africa, so I'm a South African Indian. But in India, they have classical music, classical dance. And the classical dance, every action in the dance tells a story. So perhaps for her master's, I was thinking maybe she should look at classical dance and the art of dance in terms from that perspective. So it's not just movement, but every part of the body tells a story in the dance. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulshera. Thank you. We have a raised hand from Radikobo.
Raise hand from Jane.
Okay, so go over to Jane. Or is it just a raised hand from the last question? Sometimes people forget to lower the digital hand.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to say we did not speak much about the content of the dance. I spoke about it as a vehicle that one can use in parts of these ceremonies that I mentioned, that one can have an expression of who they are, of their identity, and of the responsibility in their station in life as a grown-up person, a grown-up young man, grown-up young girl. That is what I thought time travel is all about. It speaks about transformation, about change. And I didn't want to see dance only as a beautiful movement, but as an accompaniment of the songs that are carrying the message that a person wants to bring across. The dance as expression in how the body is used is beautiful, and it can give an individual signature of a new person in their new identity when they are going to dance. But I did not want to limit as far as time travel is concerned, that movement to the body, but to the content. It's beautiful if you are going to contort your body or to soar like, and glide like a swan. If that forms, soar like an eagle, glide like a swan, if it's going to tell the story not only of being a free person, that you can add free movements that were previously unknown, but largely to say, in my new identity, this dance has this content. I wanted to emphasize that as a person coming out, to say I was here, now I have moved, and this is what I have for my community as a new person. And these are the expectations. I know of the expectations that the community have of me as an individual that forms part of the community or the family. Thanks.
Thank you for that comment. Moving on the speakers list, it's Taisha again.
I want just to thank Gulchira, I think. I'm studying India dance. I'm studying South Indian dance in the Chidambara temple, the representation of the Karyanas in the Chidambara temple. So it's very nice to you to talk about India. But I just want to add, when I say the movement has a history, I am not talking about expressing history, but here in Brazil we have samba. Matias that know about samba. We don't tell stories dancing samba, but the movement, the malandro, how the couple dance together, this is a construction of what we pass here in Brazil when samba was being building. Samba was Black people and just Black people who dance, and there is this movement, this history, this body of dance, of samba, we are dancing today. So this is the dance I was talking about, that our body, our movement tell this story. When we are dancing samba or zuki, there is a lot of our history through this dance, through this movement. So this is what I'm talking about, not just tell a story, but how the movement can be encapsulating the history of the people through the body. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that there are many of us who are interested in reading your master thesis later on, so make sure to distribute it. Let's see, we have one more hand raised in the queue. It's Jane Gilo from Kenya.
It's an old hand.
Yes, I think it's an old hand. Old hand, that's such a Zoom language. So, wow, we are running a bit over time now. I don't know if it's possible to summarize this in any way. I can summarize that we need to talk more about this. Really, we can see that dance heritage, songs, traditions, time travels, all are very complex to understand. They are very interesting to use. They can be connected to strong norms and do's and don'ts, things like that. But I think that we have only scratched the surface here, but we are running out of time. So from my perspective at least, and Selina Pendaeli as co-partners in this project, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that I have learned a lot. I've got many new ideas, things to think about, things to explore in the connection between time travels, dance, songs, and traditions. And that was basically the idea of the seminar, to sow a seed that can grow. So from my side, as the project partner, project leader, I would like to thank Radikobo, Matthias, and Anina so much for these presentations and these really interesting discussions. Also from all the participants, the auditorium, for their challenging questions and thoughts. There are been some thank you in the chat. The problem now is that when this Zoom meeting ends, we're still in 9 different countries. So we can't go out in the corridor to continue the discussions. That's one big problem with Zoom meetings. But I say like this, you all have my email in the invitation. So if you want to connect with anyone or continue the discussion with someone in this room, please send me an email, and I will make sure that you can connect with each other, because I think that we need to continue this. Gulshera, please.
Sorry, I was not listening.
I said that we need to continue this discussions, and I think that Bridging Ages Network, the Bridging Ages International.
Sorry, can you hear me, Adam?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, no, I just got disturbed for a minute. I think we need a more similar kind of seminars. It's actually equalizing to bring us together in this way. We need these kinds of connections to keep us alive and engaged. And it's a good way. You said it at the beginning, Adam, that with the pandemic, it has all its negativity, but it has this positive outcome. And we now see that the world is just a small global village with the people from east and west. But I must emphasize, and it had come to me today, that we talk about east and west, but we seldom talk about central. Who's central? Is Africa not central? So I think for the future, maybe I'm robbing, but we need to talk Africa and more central issues. And I think East, West, Central, we all can learn from one another. We have this Bridging Ages. I would like, with your permission, Adam, to the information that has been shared amongst us, 30 of us, has been so interesting that it is good for it to go into the newsletter so that it reaches a wider audience. So think about that, Adam, so we could put maybe an entire newsletter of these presentations that can reach everyone. Thank you so much for everyone's participation.
Thank you so much, Gulshera, for that notion. Absolutely, we should do that. Do something for the newsletter, the Bridging Ages newsletter. We have a comment here in the chat. Can we have a group where we can have constant discussion when we need? And I could lobby a bit about also for the Bridging Ages group at Facebook.
Yes.
Many people are on Facebook today, so please, if you are not joining the Bridging Ages group, do that, and we can continue the discussion there. Wouldn't that be
There's actually a post there about this already now that I posted.
Thank you, Anina. So maybe we can continue discussion and keep in touch with each other to find new exciting ways to collaborate over the borders, both between different disciplines, different sectors, and different countries. So with that, I would like to say yet another thank you to all the presenters here, to Radikobo, to Matthias, and to Anina for their sessions, to Selina and Pendaeli for doing the work in Tanzania. So thank you all for this seminar, and I hope to see you around on the dance floor or in the time travels.
Thank you, Adam, for hosting.
Thank you, Adam, for facilitating.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Adam, and everyone.
Thank you. And Selina and Pendaeli, we have got so much to work with now for our small project. So we are very grateful for this.
Yeah, we have learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, also the seminar was recorded, so we can publish that one later, because I think there are a lot of things to learn from this one. So from my side, thank you so much. Have a wonderful summer, at least in the north part of the world, and have a beautiful winter in the southern part. And thank you for today. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.